from ABC4 News, your local election headquarters.
Hey, thanks for being with us here, streaming on ABC4.com on election night. I'm Brian McElhatton.
I'm Sarah Murphy.
And I'm Jordan Tracy.
Look, we got a lot to get to, a lot going on right now. We have team coverage for you. We're following first and foremost, though. We've got the race for Senate. We've got Jonathan May. He is with the Caroline Gleich campaign tonight.
And then he's there. But first, we're going to check in with our Emily Clark. She is live tracking the Curtis campaign.
Now, Emily, we heard from Curtis in the past hour. What have you heard there, and what is the environment like?
Well, things have calmed down quite a bit. Party seems to be mostly over. They're starting a pretty big cleanup process after a lot of eating, a lot of celebrating, a lot of fun here at the Provo Rec Center in Provo. We did speak directly to the now Senator-elect John Curtis just a little bit ago. He emphasized how excited he was to represent Utah in Washington to continue his time out there. He also spoke a lot about tonight's celebration and why he felt it was so important to celebrate what he hoped to be a victory here in Provo. Sit down.
As people know that Provo's where I started in politics, it was a wonderful experience. It was a little bit of a Camelot, and we wanted to come back to that. The food that was provided, the entertainment that was provided, the location, all tie back to my mayor days.
So he celebrated what was, but then also looked at what is to come. He says to the constituents of Utah, those that he works for, he will not be Mike Lee, he will not be Mitt Romney. Instead, he will be John Curtis. He says the past 7 years that he has served in Congress show you what is to come for him as he now serves in the Senate. Reporting live in Provo, Emily Clark, back to you.
Okay, victory celebration there with the John Curtis campaign. Emily, thank you. We'll keep checking on with you a little bit later.
Okay, now we're going to check in with Jonathan May and the Gleich campaign, where we found out Democrat candidate and activist Caroline Gleich, she conceded the race.
That's right. Jonathan, what are you hearing from that party?
Well, Jordan, Brian, Sarah, you can see it's still a pretty active party, but talking with Caroline Gleich, she tells me this is the hardest thing she's ever had to do. And as you take a look at some video right here, now she released a statement congratulating Utah Representative John Curtis. Now, Utah has not elected a Democrat to the Senate since the 70s. She told me before tonight, win or lose, she's proud of the campaign she ran.
It was really about getting our democracy back on track to addressing the most pressing issues facing Utah and America today. And it's just been amazing to see the power of the movement we've created.
Now she looks forward to working with Representative Curtis, she tells me, and says while the results are not what she hoped for, she still remains focused on tackling issues like climate action. Brian, Sarah, Jordan, I'll send it now back to you in the studio.
Okay, Jonathan May, thank you very much. Something else we're watching for you, the race for governor. Our Rick Aaron is on standby at the watch party for Democratic candidate Brian King tonight.
But let's say hi to our Kate Garner first.
Hey, Brian. Hey, Sarah. We are finally inside the gates. We're here at the governor's mansion. We haven't heard from the governor yet today, but we are expecting to hear from him here soon. He'll come down the stairs and talk to us here at this small lectern you see behind me. Now, we have been outside all day waiting for him. Again, we haven't heard from him, but we were able to catch up with him last night at his last campaign event. And while he was there, he told us that he believes the election day is going to be good for his cabinet, good for the Republican Party, good for the state, and good for the country as a whole. Now, we spoke to someone who is acting as kind of a spokesperson for him today. It is a county commissioner from San Juan County, Bruce Adams. He told us that he spoke with the lieutenant governor and the governor earlier today, and they are feeling confident. And their message for everyone really was just get out and vote for whoever you want. Reporting live in Salt Lake City, Kate Garner. Back to you.
Okay, good to know the pumpkin shake is back there at American Burgers. It said it right on the sign out front. Kate, thank you very much.
It's important stuff. Okay, we're sticking with our team coverage here. We're going to send it over to Rick Aaron. He's following along on the Democratic candidate Brian King's trail. Rick, tell us what's going on there tonight.
Well, it is a mix of hopeful optimism and nervous anxiety here at the Hotel Monaco, where the Democratic Party is having their watch party this evening. Representative Brian King, the Democratic candidate for governor, was here for about 30 minutes, mingling with his his supporters. I had a chance to speak with him. I asked him how he's feeling. He said, well, A, he's excited, and B, he's relieved. A feeling that a lot of us are experiencing this evening, that this long campaign is now coming to a close. We're expecting some initial results to be coming in from the governor's race. And while you would normally just count out the Democratic candidate automatically here in the state of Utah, a recent poll did show him within 11% of the incumbent, Spencer Cox. So who knows? Anything can happen with everything that's happening between Cox and Phil Lyman. We'll see what happens here and bring you the latest as we get reaction here at the Democratic Party. Reporting live in Salt Lake City, Rick Aaron, ABC4 News.
Okay, Rick, thank you very much. You heard a loud environment there, a time of anticipation as we're waiting for the results, not just here in Utah, but we're also waiting for some of the results on the national scale, especially the race for the White House.
Jordan Tracy's looking at the big map across the country right now. Jordan, this is a nail biter for so many people right now.
Yeah, that's right, Brian and Sarah. And I've been talking all night about the margins in a lot of these swing states. And if you're in the Trump campaign, you're liking how it looks right now. In the Harris campaign, you're getting worried, especially in Pennsylvania. Let me zoom in here. We're going to look at Allegheny County. That is where Pittsburgh is. And in that county, she is now running behind what Biden did in 2020. That means Trump is taking those margins a lot better than he did in 2020. Also doing better in Philadelphia. That margin that we said that she was running ahead, now she's running behind by roughly about 4 points. And when it's that close of a race, those are the things that are making a determining factor. Now, it is still early when the count comes in Centre County. We heard some of those bomb threats that happened in Centre County, but that is where Penn State is. Normally runs a little bit leaning left. Right now, former President Donald Trump is in the lead in Centre County. That's something we didn't expect to see. Could change. Again, these are all evolving results. In Michigan, we've been seeing a back and forth battle in this one. Now you're seeing Vice President Kamala Harris leading in Michigan, but again, you're seeing the margins coming in, and they're a little different than what we've seen in the past. Now, 15% have reported in Wayne County. That's where Detroit is. She's running at 93%, but again, super early, only 15%. That's where she's going to be looking up to rack up as many votes as possible to try to keep pace there in Michigan. But the former president, Donald Trump, is performing really well there. And then finally, let's take a final look here at Georgia as things are shaping up. You see former President Donald Trump now in the lead in Georgia, 3 points. And the margins here, again, not great for Vice President Harris, because when you're looking at this area here, where you see the Atlanta area and the suburbs, DeKalb County, Fulton County. In Fulton County, she's currently at 71% of the vote, and former President Trump at 27% of the vote. That is running below the margins that we saw in 2020, where former President Trump, where President Biden was able to win Georgia in 2020. And what's so important in Georgia is those small margins, because President Biden won that by only 11,779 votes. So when you see those margins shrinking as compared to 2020, that's why you're feeling good as former President Donald Trump. We're continuing to track these margins, all the counties. DeKalb County finally getting some votes in. They're at 89%, and that margin at 81%. Again, underperforming what former President, what President Biden performed at. So not some good news right there if you're the Harris campaign, Brian and Sarah.
Okay, we still have a long ways to go here, though, on election night. Remember, Utah's results aren't in yet. It could be late tonight before we start to get those, but we're going to be here with you for those results.
So make sure you follow along with us on ABC4 News. We're following it all here from your local election headquarters.